Hello, this is Neil Harmon. Welcome to my Capstone presentation. Let's begin. For most of my life, I worked in science and high tech. I was one of those spiritual but not religious people, someone who valued meaning, ethics, and community, but I didn't see myself inside a religious institution. That changed later in life when I found my way to a UU congregation and discovered how essential religious community could be. The turning point came in Selma when I visited on the 50th anniversary of Bloody Sunday. Thinking about the courage of the civil rights era activists and realizing how far from over their struggle truly was, I realized I needed to be doing more. That moment, combined with being close enough to retirement to imagine a new chapter in my life, nudged me towards seminary. I arrived at CTS with a fuzzy but well-intentioned goal: to prepare myself to serve in some way. What I didn't expect was how much of my thinking would be taken apart and rebuilt, and how my sense of call would sharpen along the way. When I started at CTS, I was a little suspicious of religion. Coming from a scientific background, I had seen theology misused in the public square. Christian nationalism, literalism, and fundamentalism that seemed opposed to science and were sometimes used to divide people rather than to unite them. I started seminary with reservations, but also with a commitment to keep an open mind and see where it would lead. Over time, my understanding changed dramatically. I came to see both science and theology as companionable paths to seeking truths. When approached with humility, these paths are not natural enemies. In fact, when they appear to conflict, I now see that conflict as an invitation to do deeper work, an opportunity to search for a truth that can be held by both disciplines. This shift happened most clearly in my scripture classes. I heard the phrase, text without context is dangerous, and that concept stayed with me. It helped me see how sacred texts can be misused, but also how they can be reclaimed with care, scholarship, and integrity. Across my coursework, frequent writing and reflection helped me develop a theological voice that I didn't know I had. I can now speak about theological concepts with a level of comfort and authority, hopefully always tempered by humility. My social justice classes expanded my understanding of how to engage the public square thoughtfully. And the seminary environment itself, a genuinely safe space for deep conversation, helped me see privilege, structural injustice, and my own responsibilities in new ways. I leave CTS with a broader sense of my relationship to the world and the work that needs to be done. Throughout seminary, I was discerning what ministry might look like for me. At first, I imagined the roles most visible to me, pastor or public theologian. But as I learned more, I discovered many other ways to serve, as an academic, an activist, or through pastoral care. Considering my skills, my age, and what I thought would be both realistic and meaningful, pastoral care emerged as a strong possibility. It was something I could do well, something that could be full or part-time, and something where my age was an asset rather than a limitation. My background in leadership and management had taught me how to hold authority and humility together, a combination that translated surprisingly well into pastoral presence. I entered field education with some fear that it wouldn't work, that pastoral care just wouldn't be right for me. But over the year, I grew into that role. I built relationships with residents in the elder community I served. I led small groups, created services for the holidays, and found myself increasingly comfortable and effective. CPE was the next test, one I delayed partly because of logistics and partly because it scared me. I had come to see it as a make or break moment, and it was daunting at first. But my field ed experience gave me a foundation, and I settled in more quickly than I expected. By the end of the unit, my educator commented on how far I had come, and I found myself genuinely sad to leave. I knew I would miss the patients, the staff, and the work itself. Along the way, I wrestled with theodicy, witnessed the power of presence and prayer, and had moments when I knew I was truly helping someone. The make or break moment turned out to be make. I'm now scheduled to begin my second unit of CPE on April 4th, and I can't wait. It feels like where I'm supposed to be. Seminary has also confirmed that Unitarian Universalism is the right home for me. I describe myself as a Christian pluralist, someone who follows the Christian path but honors the worth and wisdom of other traditions. I believe there are many ways to seek truth, and that rejecting any path out of hand limits our understanding. Humility is central to my theology. There is so much that we do not and cannot fully understand. Paul's reminder that we see through a glass darkly resonates deeply with me. As a chaplain, I often return to the question of theodicy. My current thinking is shaped by process theology. Creation's complex, and too much divine intervention could cause more harm than good. Sometimes, even an omnipotent God must exercise restraint out of love for creation as a whole. That doesn't erase suffering, but it frames God as one who stands with us during suffering. I expect my understanding will continue to evolve, but CTS has given me the tools and the courage to engage these questions honestly. What I appreciate most is that CTS taught me to think theologically rather than rely on simplistic answers. It is harder work, but it is the only intellectually honest way forward. At this point, I feel strongly called to chaplaincy, likely in an institutional setting. Because of my age and experience, I'm especially drawn to working with older adults in nursing homes, hospitals, or hospice. I will remain active in my home congregation and occasionally lead worship, but my primary ministry will be in the community. I'm not looking to try and change the world. I'm trying to help to bring moments of grace to people who need them. And I'm building on the foundation CTS has given me. From that moment in Selma, when I realized I needed to do more, to now preparing for my second unit of CPE, this journey has changed me in ways I couldn't have predicted. I'm still the same person, but I'm also fundamentally transformed. I'm excited to continue growing as a chaplain and to offer care in small but meaningful ways. I'm grateful for the formation I've received here, and I'm ready to go out and do the work.